I've always rated Pochettino, personally, even though I'm a Chelsea fan and he has managed our arch rivals, our nemesis, Tottenham Hotspur FC. I've always admired Mauricio Pochettino and the job that he did at Spurs and the job he did at Southampton as well. So the fact that we have appointed Pochettino, I'm honestly very pleased. I know there are a lot of Chelsea fans that are a bit unsure about how it's going to work, how it's going to pan out, if he's going to be given the time, considering his history, considering his past with Tottenham, will we be quicker to snap at him? But I just think that's foolish ridiculousness. At the end of the day, Pochettino is a very, very good manager. And I think even still, people look at what he did at PSG recently and they look at him like he's not a top manager. He's not a top tier coach. And I would argue that that job was doomed. That job is a doomed role. And if you look at some of the managers that have come out of there, Thomas Tuchel, our beloved, Unai Emery, who's going and clearly has got pedigree at what he did at Villarreal and now what he's doing at Villa. You know, it's not necessarily the coach at that role. It's the team. It's the way that club is run. It's an impossibly difficult club to coach, and the expectations are, of course, through the roof when you've got Mbappe, Neymar, Messi. It's ridiculous. And I don't think Pochettino should be judged based on his PSG career. I think he should be judged what he did at Tottenham, how much of what he did for that team. Tottenham were no one. And the way he took a young Harry Kane, a Heung-min Son, Eriksen, Dembele, Kyle Walker, Trippier after that, Danny Rose, he took players and elevated them, and that's a big, big credit to his man management, to the way that he always sets up a team that's full of intensity, high press, super fit. I was reading something the other day that Kieran Trippier was saying about how Pochettino absolutely put players in almost like a fat club that were a little bit overweight, even though they think they came back in good shape. His attention to detail, his attention to fitness is paramount. And I think that is something that Chelsea need massively, because I would argue that's one of our biggest flaws this season. Of course, with such a bloated squad, it's quite hard to assess who is potentially a bit bloated and a bit thicker around the torso and not moving and hasn't got that stamina when you've got to look at so many players. And I think that's been a big part of our failure this year. And I think that Pochettino coming in, trimming the squad down and leading up some of these players and getting their fitness to that top tier levels that he was doing at Southampton, that he was doing at Tottenham, I think that's going to be a big asset for Chelsea. Not only that, he's a man management, players really go into war for him, they battle for him, and that's something, again, Chelsea have not done. You've seen it, it's not being done under Frank Lampard, that's for sure. They know that this is an interim position for him. It was never done under Graham Potter. Nobody really respected Graham, unfortunately. He didn't quite command that respect in the dressing room. He didn't have that disciplinarian side to him. And that's what I think Pochettino has. Pochettino is not going to take any troublemakers. He's not going to try and, emotional intelligence everyone. It's like, if you even go to war for me, or that's it, cut ties. And I think that's definitely what Pochettino and Bowley and the consortium have been talking about. Because at the end of the day, they are going to have to, again, understand that money is going to be lost. We've invested in some players that are just not going to work, and it's key that Pochettino is firm there. And I think that is why this whole meeting and him actually putting pen to paper has taken so long, because I think there has been a lot of back and forth trying to understand how a Pochettino's Chelsea team would look and what the plan would be. Until that, it's been back and forths, and I think hopefully Bowley is going to leave all of that autonomy to Pochettino, and he's going to have his way with this squad and Chelsea, because we bloody need it. I tell you, Chelsea are in absolute disarray. We're a mess, and until we get a stable manager and a game plan, a system instilled in this squad with a load of players going out the door, we are going to finish way out of the top 6 and 7. So it is key that Pochettino gets his ideas across, and I really believe he will, and the players will buy into them. So I, for one, am chuffed with this announcement. And I'm honestly chuffed for so many reasons. It's not just the fact that Pochettino is going to come in and work with young players and, get this team hopefully pressing with a lot more intensity and getting them a lot more, the fitness levels higher. It's also the fact that I think Chelsea are very lucky in a sense that Nagelsmann rejected us. Enrique was quite flippant. He either wanted the job then and there, or he didn't want it at all. So those two kind of just didn't really work out for us. And at the end of the day, Pochettino is the last man standing. And when you think that Tottenham are without a manager and also in disarray. And Harry Kane and Heung-min Son, all these players are still there. These players that thrived under Pochettino. It is Chelsea's gain that Daniel Levy has not picked up the phone, eaten some humble pie and brought Pochettino back. I feel like we are super lucky that has not happened, because I think Pochettino would have gone to Tottenham in a heartbeat. Honestly, I really think that after the time he had at PSG, dealing with some of those, damsels and all that Hollywood that comes with PSG, I think he's keen to start a project. And Tottenham, with some of those players still at the helm, still there, I think Pochettino would have gone there had Levy picked up the phone. But it's our gain that he hasn't, I'm telling you. Pochettino has always been a good manager. United, before they got Ten Hag, it was Pochettino and Ten Hag. They decided to go down the Ten Hag route. I think Ten Hag is a good manager. They couldn't really have gone that much wrong with those two options. But I think all of this panning out the way it has and Pochettino landing at our doorstep, I think is going to be one of those things that after so much, bad luck and mess management, ever since we've sacked Tuchel, I think that this one might work out for us. And, well, I'm hoping it does. I really do. But, of course, Poch has got a big job in his hands. It's not going to be easy for Poch to just get Chelsea winning and getting results, because at the end of the day, we are so bad. Our players are underperforming so much. We've got so much fat to trim in this squad. And I think that is obviously the first order, is to just get a lot of players out the door. I mean, the ones that immediately come to mind, of course, that we've been saying all year, Pulisic, Ziyech, Aubameyang. I think those three you can pretty much guarantee will be shown the door, and any money will be taken for them, I would imagine. And then, of course, you've got Zakaria, who's going to go back on loan. That's going to go back to Juventus, his parent club. That's not going to be extended, that's for sure. João Felix, I'm kind of hoping that doesn't come to fruition. I think he's a great player. I'm not sure if he's a Poch type of player. He's not exactly the man to, run around and get a heat map all over the pitch. He is almost a luxury player. Doesn't strike me as a Pochettino type of player. And considering the amount of money we've already spent on a lot of players, I can't see us forking out another 80, 90 mil after seeing what I've seen from João Felix. Quality player. I think he's going to work somewhere else, just not for Chelsea and not at this point in time. And then, of course, you've got Aspi retiring. And then there are so many other question marks over so many other players that we constantly go through, whether it's Chalobah, Loftus-Cheek, Conor Gallagher. I think the biggest thing that Pochettino can do is stamp his authority, pick the players he likes, and Mason Mount and N'Golo Kante, these are two players that are, of course, going to be, hugely affected by Pochettino's arrival. I hope Pochettino decides to hang on to both of them. I think they've still got a massive future at Chelsea. And N'Golo Kante, of course, a fit Kante, if we can keep him fit, is a huge asset. And Mason Mount, I hope Pochettino fancies him. Everyone is likening him to, Christian Eriksen and that role at Tottenham. He's given that sort of free role on the right. And I would love to see it, because I don't want to see Mount go to a rival club. Mount is a young prospect, and if Pochettino is the man to get Mount thriving again, he's had a bad season. I'm sure even by his standards, he'll admit that. If Pochettino can be the man to turn that around, then I really feel like Mason Mount will thrive and become, once again, one of Chelsea's biggest players. So trimming the squad, of course, is a big deal, but it's also just really instilling that system, that formation. I'm just not sure Chelsea can play this 4-3-3 formation that Pochettino is famous for. I don't know if he's going to have to tweak that, or, he's just going to have to find a lot of different pieces in this current squad to make that work. Of course, Chelsea seem to be so much better with the three at the back. You would imagine on our best day, defensively, and our wing-backs, would pick themselves. Thiago Silva, Fofana, Badiashile, Chilwell, and Reece James. Those are sort of immovable objects, really. I'm not sure how it works with just a four. And then in midfield, I think midfield is one of those problems that Poch is really going to have to assess, and it's going to have to change, because I think in our midfield we've been very weak this year, and I think that's been a big part as to why we've just been so easy to score against and not quite had that stability that we're used to. We don't have that defensive prowess. We don't have that man who can sit in front of the back and clean up and win tackles. Obviously, where N'Golo Kante has not been doing that role since he's come back or has been injured the whole season. We don't have, that Makalele role. We don't have these Michael Essiens, these guys in the middle who are running around and are disrupting, these John Obi Mikkels. These are the players that you need. You need someone like that. Chelsea really don't have that. And the fact we forked out 100 M's on Enzo Fernandez, who is not really that kind of player. He can do it, yes, but you're wasting him in that sixth role. He needs to be further up the pitch. He needs to be doing more. And I just hope that Yeah, I feel like Pochettino's going to have to make something work there. He's going to have to something's going to have to give. Really interested in what to see what's going to be done there. Of course, players like Declan Rice, Caicedo, they would be the dream, I think, to partner with Enzo. But I think definitely with Kovacic playing so poorly and clearly his head is turned by a move away and maybe he's just fed up, there is definitely answers there. And of course, going forward, what are we going to do? We're going to have to acquire a number 9. It's ridiculous what's going to happen with Lukaku. Are we Broja will be back by that point. Fofana, what's happening with him? He's going to have to try and get the best out of Mudryk and Enzo, who have underperformed so far. Madueke has been a breath of fresh air since he started playing. Raheem Sterling bagged a brace on the weekend. He's looking good. There's so many things for Pochettino to sort out, but the fact is that the deal has been announced. He's agreed, and he will have at least from day one at the start of pre-season to get this team in order, and hopefully he can get his ideas across, and we can start to move in a much better direction, a more positive direction, because this season has been horrible. Guys, let me know what you think about this Pochettino arrival. There's so much, press and talk about it. I want to know what you guys think. What kind of formation? Who do you think are classic Pochettino players? Is there a future for Mason Mount under Pochettino? Can he get him back on side and back playing his best football at Chelsea? What do you think? Guys, like this video if you can. It'd be a huge help. Leave a comment in the comment box. I want to hear your thoughts. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't done already. And I'll see you in the next one. Big week of football. Not much points for Chelsea to get, I can't imagine. But we're going to have a say in all of it. So it'll be interesting nonetheless. I'll see you later with another video in a bit.